Good morning. It is still morning, right?
Barely. As of 2 minutes ago, it is now noon.
Now noon. Wonderful. Thank you.
So,
Excellent. We're just playing swapsies. Short person and tall person. Thank you very much.
oh, it's fine.
Great. I'll take this. Yeah, perfect. So good morning, everyone. It is not morning. Good afternoon, everyone. As of 2 minutes ago, we're in afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us on this last day of TUSCon 52, our little sci-fi convention here in the desert, our little gem of fandom. I'm Madame Askew, and I am a sewist. I also play a strange internet gremlin on the internet. And joining me today is my friend Sarah
Of Sarah Blake Creations. I'm a cosplayer and chaos gremlin, and another sewist.
and another sewist.
Yeah.
Yes, and hello Temperance.
Hello.
Are you joining us up here or are you chilling out in the audience?
I can join if you want, but I thought you had a full boat.
We'll see what happens. I'll just call on you periodically. Sounds great. So we're here today to talk about what happens. Joanne's is dead. What now? Don't panic.
There are lots of things that we can do
There are
other than panic.
other than panic. And to acknowledge the sort of reality of it all, Joanne's was for many people their mainstay place to go get sewing supplies, notions, and crafting materials. They're local, or not local in that small sense, but they're a chain. They're
Location-wise, they are local.
local, and they used to have it all, right? They used to be able to hit all the high points in crafting and at an accessible cost. So maybe it wasn't the highest end of gear if you're getting really into the nitty gritty of whatever art form you are pursuing, but they were a great place for entry things. They were a great place for those median prices. If you were like, I'm not doing the once in a lifetime project, I'm making another blanket because I just like to make them, right? So sometimes you don't want to be like trolling the internet for that $100 a yard silk brocade. You want just a really beautiful cotton print, right? And Joanne's was great for those things.
Or like, you thought, oh, I think I have enough thread. Oh, wait, I don't. Or I thought I had the right length zipper, and oh, hey, this one is 5 inches too short. And I have to have this done in 2 days.
Yes.
To Joanne's we go.
Right, having that convenience and having that place to go in those emergency, like, oh no, moments that every crafter has. I don't think there's any experience level that is not like, oh no, I did need that extra yard.
Yes.
Oh. And I think that's the place where it's hardest to sort of like replace Joanne's, to be honest, or you may not have the best suggestions for where you go in a crisis situation at 10 p.m. The week before your convention. But hopefully we can help you find some places that will at least almost fill that gap as well as the many others left behind from Joanne's. So, my friend, you and I share resources between the two of us a lot. We do trade back and forth, recommendations for different sewing supply stores, craft stores, and things that will be useful to us. You make quilts, you do cosplays.
I dabble in quilts, but yes.
I can't remember if you do any knitting.
I used to do a lot of knitting. I don't do as much anymore. My girlfriend does a fair bit of knitting. So I know at least some of those resources.
Right, and you also do embroidery and.
Yes, I do a lot of embroidery.
So, and I'm also not a knitter or crocheter, so there will be some limits into like what we know for that, but I have made jewelry and I do hats and clothes and corsets, and if it's like making garments, I've probably done it. So, so that's kind of my intersection with all of this. And I don't want to leave out the people who do like many myriad crafts because Joann's was the crafting place.
Yes.
So we want to acknowledge that you need to fill that niche as well. But we may be providing a lot of sewing resources more than anything. And I should also disclose that this is a lot of information. It is going to be preserved on YouTube, so if you're like, I did not catch what they said, you can go to the YouTube channel, it's a free video.
Correct me if I'm wrong, don't you also have a list of resources published on your Patreon?
It's actually not even on Patreon.
Oh, okay.
It is a spreadsheet that is available for anyone who's interested in it, that is regularly updated with more resources. You can go to my link tree, I will put out my cards, and just request access to that spreadsheet, and I will give it to you. So you don't even have to go to my Patreon. When Joann's announced that they were closing up shop forever, we started making the spreadsheet to sort of have a place where everybody could get resources and have links, and also, so the way the spreadsheet works is it's the name of the place, the way to get to the place, and then a little review of what you can expect and a price range, because budget matters in crafting. So, let's talk about Wawa.
Okay.
And like, we'll probably come up with some other resources and things for you, but also if you have a particular niche that you are looking to fill, please raise your hand so we can help you find it. So I wanted to start with Wawa because they are fast. They are competitively priced, and they have every notion you could possibly need as a sewing person. All of the sewing machine needles, from home sewing machines to professional sewing machines. They have thread, high-end thread, Gutermann, Messier, and I think they have Coats and Clark as well.
I believe so.
They have all the scissors, they have a great selection of rotary blades, plus a lot of like sort of niche stuff for tailoring,
Different
and
interfacings, and things like that.
yeah, so if you need to like, if you're like, I'm gonna make a three-piece suit, they've got you covered. But if you're also like, I just wanna make a little like wrap skirt, they have you, yes, Temperance.
Would they be a good place also for piping and bias tape that you could always get at Joann's?
I don't know that they'd be a good resource for the ready-made, prepackaged piping and bias tape. I haven't checked
can
them.
look it up.
Yeah, I will say that what they are good for is like the sort of hardware of sewing. And they do a flat rate shipping fee that is $6. They are in Nevada. If you are here in the Southwest, their stuff will get to you in 2 to 3 days. And they're just fantastic, yes.
For just the bias tape sort of stuff and cotton print stuff, find out where your local quilters stores are.
Yeah, yes.
They'll have an enormous range of cotton prints, and they'll have bias tape, they'll have Coats and Clarks. Depending on the management, you probably get them to order you the piping,
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. I mean,
if
on
they don't
our,
normally carry it.
on our list of recommendations, I'm starting out with Wawak as sort of like a broad, like, here's the broad place where you can get lots of stuff that you could easily get at Joann's, that you are not necessarily going to be able to get the fullness of that at a local, like,
No, but for that, you know, 2
specific
days
shop.
before the convention, oh my God, I've got the wrong size zipper, your quilt shop is likely to have it.
Maybe, I mean, like, so I do really.
Cultivate a relationship.
Yeah, I mean, I really quilt shops are on my list of things to recommend. I'm not sort of dismissing them. But it's very dependent on your quilt shop. I would say making a relationship as a garment maker or a cosplayer with your local quilt shops is a really good idea, though.
Would absolutely confirm that also Wabak does have bias tape. But I have cultivated a relationship with a couple of the quilt shops here, and they have actually been willing to special order me stuff that they don't necessarily have in stock. When I was embroidering all of the table runners for my wedding, that was kind of crazy. One of the local shops here special ordered me all of the thread that I was gonna need in huge spools because they didn't have the large spools in the that I needed. So like having that relationship could be super helpful.
Yeah, so I think that a number of quilt shops in the wake of the Joann's closure are also starting to see more garment makers come in. And so one challenge with quilt shops is sometimes they're like, look, we don't want to deal with things like zippers. We're only making quilts here. We only sell things that pertain to quilt making. I personally am very happy to make garments out of the kind of fabrics they carry at quilt shops because they're beautiful, they have a lovely hand,
Yes.
and they're cotton, and I can do a lot with them. But I do sometimes need things like zippers and buttons and closures and hooks and eyes and that sort of thing. And so not every quilt shop is going to have that available. But as you pointed out, make a relationship. Maybe if they're seeing more garment makers come in, they'll start to do that. They may be willing to special order for you. But also you've always got a place like Wawak that really has all of those particular sorts of things. Zippers galore, right?
Oh yes, they have so many different kinds of zippers. Anytime I have needed like something very specific, they've had it.
Well, and I think one of the nice things about a place like Wawak that's been open for decades, it's family owned, and it's like very dedicated to the community, is that not only does it have zippers, it has all of the zippers. It has like zippers in a ton of colors at different weights and lengths. I actually stopped shopping at Joann's in 2020 because they sort of failed me during the pandemic. And I switched to Wawak at that time, and I haven't been unhappy. So, but that's like your notions, your hardware. That's not your fabric. That's not your knitting yarn. Yes.
You mentioned that you stopped shopping at Joann's during the pandemic. I was wondering if Joann's is dead because of the people who stopped shopping, or?
No, it's dead because it was liquidated to fill the sort of vulture capitalism machine.
And they were also decreasing the quality of fabric, and focusing a lot on things that aren't necessarily widely used. So they had like flannel and polar fleece galore. But if you needed other types of fabric, you weren't really likely to find it as much.
But
Where it was getting harder
It
to
was-
find it.
it was really getting harder, and the last year or two was very sad. But no, one of those companies came in, bought them up, and then sold off all their assets and like pulled the same thing that happened to Red Lobster and Sears on Joann's. So it wasn't about like consumer doubt, it was about management. And that's really unfortunate, but I don't think anyone should feel bad that they didn't buy enough at Joann's. We bought a lot at Joann's over the years. That was very spicy, but I'm not going to say it was our fault collectively when somebody profited off the demise of a company that people really treasured. So, yes.
I am a small town quilter.
Yes.
There are 3 mom and grandma quilting stores within an hour's drive of where I live in eastern Mississippi.
Oh my gosh, you're in Mississippi.
There's one in Columbus, there's one in West Point, and there's one south of me in Ackerman. Ackerman is the one that's got the full service shop that will have all the zippers and will order things for you. Robbie is great. But I have not heard of this Wawak
Yeah,
that you
they're
talk about.
It's
Right.
online.
They're online.
But how is the name spelled?
WAWAK.com.
Okay.
Yep.
And again, if you go, I'll put out my cards. If you go to my link tree, there's a direct link in that spreadsheet that will take you right there. So, Sarah, what is one of your favorite online resources for buying fabric?
Wholesale Fabric Direct is one of the places that I go fairly frequently. They have a pretty wide fabric selection, and their prices are honestly pretty good. Back when fabric.com was in existence, I would go there frequently, but unfortunately that's no longer there. But Fabric Wholesale Direct has a lot of really good quality fabrics at a pretty good price point. I have found a lot of great stuff there. I also like going to Dharma Trading Company, especially if I'm getting fabric that I might be dyeing, or if I just want undyed fabric. The shirt, or the fabric I use for this shirt is actually from there. And they consistently have good prices and good quality stuff.
Yeah, I love Dharma. So Dharma is great for fabric, for just like undyed fabric. But it's also great for dyeing supplies.
Yes.
So, which is how I knew them originally. That's spelled DHARMA, dharmatrading.com. They've been around since the 70s. And they do a sprightly online sales. So they have just tremendous dyeing supplies. So if you're like, wow, yeah, the price on that fabric is great, but I miss going into Joann's and seeing all of that Kona cotton in a million shades. I miss being able to find like just the right color I want. Dyeing is its own hobby. It's its own liver. We should have listed that. We both do fabric dyeing. It is quite the rabbit hole to go down, but it is an option if you're like, but I really want that particular turquoise because I need it for this, like Avatar: The Last Airbender or cosplay or what have you.
Or you decide, oh, I want to do this custom ombre color
girl.
scheme with 3 different layers in each tier of skirts, and so you need 9 different colors that all coordinate and are within the same color scale.
Dharma is also really good if you want like period correct dyes for you from
Yes.
like
Yes.
1500, like I do Renaissance Fair.
Oh, nice.
You know, we're the period police. It's like, no, that's.
That's
It's just for another 200 years, but Dharma has very good
Yeah.
period correct natural dyes.
They do have
if you
great
need to do
natural dyes. I have to admit, I don't do a lot of natural dyeing. I use a lot of their like acid dyes and things, but they are great for that, and also they're very helpful with giving you good tutorials and good information. It is like a step up from RIT dye. So like, I think you can get some RIT dye through Wawak, and maybe from the RIT company itself. RIT, I'm not gonna tell you not to use RIT dye for dyeing things, because they're very solid. But if you wanna like step up your game and really have control over your colors, and you were like, I am very serious cosplayer, costume or whatever, Dharma is just like a great option. But more than that, like this fabric is so good, Sarah.
It's linen and rayon blend, and it is stupid comfortable.
Yeah, yes.
Do most of the places you're recommending offer fabric swatches?
Yep.
If you want to touch
Yes.
Yes.
before buying?
Let us talk about the swatches. My God, that is such a great question.
I should have brought my swatch books.
Same. I mean, I did bring a million other things to like this contest yesterday, but swatches are essential, and that is
Yes.
such a great question because I know for a lot of us, we want to be able to touch our fabric first.
Fabric fondlers.
Fabric fondlers, man, that needs to go on a t-shirt.
That's amazing.
Right? But like, we want to touch it. We want to
Yes.
confirm the color. We want to confirm the hands.
See, is it gonna be scratchy? Like, is this something that will drive me up the wall from a sensory standpoint? That is something that I absolutely think about.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and so one of the things, Dharma will do swatches. Wawak doesn't really have fabric, right? So you don't need swatches from there. A number of the places these days, like I like eQuilter a lot, and I love heartsfabrics.com. That's HARTS.com. They started out as a quilting company, but they also offer, this is so bougie, but I love it. They offer all these beautiful Japanese textiles, and Japan just does like the best cottons. I have a problem, but they're so beautiful. So they won't sell swatches, but they'll sell you a quarter of a yard. And I would rather have a swatch usually, but I will use those quarter yards for small projects.
Fabric Wholesale Direct definitely will give you swatches. I have ordered stacks of them, well, maybe not stacks, but handful of swatches at a time because I'm trying to find the exact fabric that I want. And you can absolutely do that. And I believe, Fabric Wholesale Direct will also actually give you thread recommendations as far as like color matching the thread,
They do,
which is really nice.
and I'm guessing that often they'll charge for swatches, and for me, that's okay, because I want to find it.
Yeah, yeah, most of the places, will charge for swatches that I have found. Silk Baron, which is one of both of our favorite fabric companies. If you want silk, go to Silk Baron, seriously.
Yes.
Like, their selection is incredible. Their customer service is some of the best that I have seen.
It's just like a couple, husband and wife own Silk Baron.
They're delightful people.
They are the people on the other side of the email. So if you email them, you're gonna get one of the owners, and they really are great.
And the fabrics are stunning. Yeah, that's it. And if you order yardage from them, you get 3 free swatches with every order. And so I will sometimes just go through my wish list, it's like, oh, I don't have these swatches yet. Or if I'm looking for a specific color, I will sometimes order like one of their swatch packs, which is, there's various ones, but you can get like 10, 20 swatches, or all of their swatches of that fabric type.
Yeah, and that's usually comes as a little discount when you
Yeah.
get the packs. But I think their swatches cost like $1.50 a swatch, which is not terrible. And you have this habit, like this isn't related, this is like from we do a panel about swatch books and swatching as a separate thing, but you share your love of swatching. So please share with the class.
So I have been known to, when I am super stressed, go fabric shopping. Even when I don't actually need more fabric, and I'm trying to not do this because I have enough fabric in my workshop and I need to use it before I buy more fabric. And so to keep myself from stress buying yardage, what I will do is I will go and stress buy swatches. And so I will order like 20 swatches of fabrics that I don't have yet. And that satisfies I need something pretty, but I don't end up with 10 yards of fabric that I have no immediate plans for. And so as a result, I now have an entire binder, most of which is filled with swatches from Silk Baron because they're pretty and I love using their fabric. But it also means that when I am looking for a particular color, or I'm looking for a particular type of fabric, or anything like that for a project, I can go to this binder and then flip through. It's like, okay, what color am I looking for here? And I can't always find exactly what I'm looking for, but frequently I can, and it's because I stress buy swatches instead of buying yardage.
Yeah, and I love that. I love that you do that.
You laughed so hard when you found out that I do that.
I absolutely do. Yes, I see 2 hands up. Ma'am.
Does your grid happen to include Marshall's Fabrics of Batesville, Arkansas?
No, but I'll add it.
They started out as a totally online and wholesale business, but during the pandemic, when everybody and her sister was sewing masks, they opened up apparently a store where you could go. Some of my quilting friends in East Mississippi make a pilgrimage up there once a year. And my friend who was making masks was ordering it, in bunches from them. So I have not personally done business with them, but I know people who have, and they've been happy with it.
Thank you so much.
And you can Google for Marshall's Fabrics, Batesville, Arkansas.
So it's Marshall's Fabrics, Batesville, Arkansas. I'm just repeating that because sometimes you can't hear the voice from behind you. So
Right.
thank you so much. I'll have to add it to the spreadsheet. It sounds like a really great resource. And that's part of the spreadsheet business is adding to. Yes, Temperance.
Just a question, the corset that you're wearing
Yes,
right now,
yes.
what fabric is it and where did you get the fabric from?
Oh, yes, tell us about what fabric
And
this
this
is.
is knock over the chair. So this is the Elsa fabric from Silk Baron. It's one of their tricolor Dupianis. So yeah,
Gorgeous.
Beautiful.
What is that stuff that is the fringe on the top around the
This?
neckline?
These are resin casted crystals.
Cool.
Yeah, so I made those and then drilled holes in them to turn them into beads.
And you cast them yourself.
Yes, that took a lot of experimentation to get the effect right.
Yeah. It's
And figure out how I wanted to do the color gradients and all of that. So, yeah.
You know, it's the cosplayer problem. You design a costume and you're like, oh, now I have to learn resin casting,
Yeah.
leatherworking, and 3D modeling.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
It's like, I can't find the beads that I want. Okay, I guess I'm learning how to make them.
It's so beautiful.
Stay away from it.
No, we're dangerous. And our third person in the audience, who's currently a ringer, Temperance, the three of us together, if you don't want someone encouraged to make stuff, you should not leave them alone with us.
Yes, at costume college, a year and a half ago, I bought a piece of rainbow silk and showed it to these two. And within 20 minutes, we had an entire cosplay planned out.
I still wanna see that.
Oh, it's happening. It is happening for costume college this year. I've been researching materials and techniques.
Someone has to learn how to do 18th century sewing.
Yes, I am going to be making a set of 18th century stays and panniers.
It's fun.
Speaking of 18th century, J.A.S. Townsend,
Joss Townsend, yes.
although they're primarily 18th century reenactment supplies, they do also sell 18th century accurate cotton prints as well as wool.
So let's talk about Joss Townsend for a moment. I think they might be on my spreadsheet because I do love them. They're an incredible store. I'm so happy you recommended them. I love to go to them for buttons and things too, because the buttons are, you know, one thing about Joann's, they have that wall of buttons, right?
Mhm.
And it's really nice to have a wall of buttons. And there are like some options
There's
without
that
that
ones in there.
wall of buttons, but they would have some cool ones, but they were 90% plastic. And it's not that plastic is evil, right? I mean, outside of a certain context of the environment, but like, it's
It
not
is
that,
not on there.
it's not on there. Okay, thank you, I'll make sure to add it. But like, plastic buttons crack, they wear out, they're like, you know, they just don't hold up as well. And vintage buttons are great because they're usually like made out of hardier stuff. So I like to shop vintage buttons a lot, not because I'm being like a snob, but because if I put it on my clothes, I want it to last as long as I'm wearing it. But Joss Townsend, they have like metal buttons, bone buttons, wooden hand-carved buttons. Their buttons, I sound like a maniac, but their buttons are so good. And I'm a hat maker, so I also love them for their hat blanks because they will have the wool cape lines, the hoods that you can steam and shape into your own hat. And that's also like such a great resource to have if you're into any kind of costuming or like cosplay, right? Because sometimes you're like, but I want that crazy hat from that anime, and the cardboard's just not cutting it. Like, you might have to learn how to steam and shape your own hat.
I am sensing that this website is going to be another rabbit hole for me to go down and
I'm
explore.
so sorry.
I feel like you're saying that you're so sorry the same way you were sorry that you introduced me to Silk Baron.
But Townsend has been around for, I mean, I bought
Decades.
stuff from them in the 90s, back when it was paper catalog.
That's when I came into contact with them, was those paper catalogs. And this is a little off color. They were like porn. I loved those catalogs so much.
I'm glad I did not have a mouthful of tea when you said that.
So sorry. So Joss Townsend's a great recommendation. Clearly, I got very excited about them. We love Silk Baron. We both have a problem, but like they do those swatch packs, which is so nice.
We totally can't go through our swatch binders and go, oh, that's this color, that's this color, that's this color, without looking at the labels.
Girl, you are making us sound like we are fine people who don't have a problem. You can like showing us walking across the room, and I'm like, oh, is that periwinkle Pinkie Pie for last month's release?
Or that one's Cairo, or.
obsessed. But I also really like mood fabric for some
Yes.
reason, right? So
Their fabrics are great.
mood, like laughing and joking aside, like clearly we're dear friends, but
Yes.
mood fabric is not your cheapest option. It's sort of like I'd call it median. They have a wide price range from like the sublime to the like horrifying. But what they do is they have a great swatch policy. So you can buy swatches from them for like $1.50. Their swatches are chonky. They're like not small swatches, they're chonky swatches. But
They
if,
do have nice swatches.
but if you buy like 3 yards or something like that, they send you 5 swatches free. And so I'm like Sarah, when I'm checking out Mood and I need to buy some fabric, I'm like, ooh,
Muslin or something like
ooh,
that.
I'll get these swatches. Yes, Temperance.
Would that be the store that also, if you make a purchase, you can get how many yards of muslin? 5 yards of muslin at a ridiculously low price?
Yes, I think
That's
it's
right, I forgot about that.
I think it's 5 yards of muslin with each purchase for either $11 for the 5 or $15 for the 5. Regardless, it's a great price for muslin.
And it's good quality muslin
It's
too.
a medium weight muslin, so it's not very chintzy, it's not super light. It's got a good hand. It's 45-inch wide, or is it 55-inch
I
wide?
think it's 45.
It's 45-inch wide, unbleached muslin. I use it for everything from linings, interlinings to mock-ups, because it is just a little bit toothier than like it's got a little bit more weight than like some percal cotton sheets. And sometimes percal cotton sheets are the great thing for a mock-up, but I do a lot of corsetry and historical things, so I want something with a bit more structure. And so I like that muslin from Mood, and also the price is
It's great.
so stupid good. Thanks, Temperance.
You're welcome.
What a great question.
Now can I look at your swatch book? No. I do, I drew over her swatch book.
It's so good. I have 2 now, because I outgrew the one. So what's another resource that you really like to make sure to hand off to people, Sarah, when they're like, Joanne's is gone, I don't know what I'm gonna do, I am planning my next fabulous whatever. Well, we've talked about some of our big favorites,
Yeah, we've
right?
talked about some of the big ones. Another one that I will sometimes use for specialty supplies is Bias Bespoke.
Mhm.
And they have some of the specialty like tailoring stuff. They've got corsetry supplies. There's a couple different resources for corsetry supplies
Yes.
out there.
Yes.
Another one is fabricdirect.com. And I don't like them quite as much as Fabric Wholesale Direct, but they also have a very wide range of fabrics, and good stuff out there.
I like Denver Fabrics. Denver Fabrics also has a pretty big selection. It's denverfabrics.com, and they also do swatches.
Yeah.
They have a pretty good search feature, which is nice.
Yeah. And then if you're looking for like Lycra and stuff like that, there's spandexworld.com. They've got all sorts of stretchy fabrics. There's a couple indie fabric stores as well.
So you can also look. Yes, Temperance.
I was saying, where would be a good place for linen and possibly trim? Because we don't get
Fabricstore.com, right?
Fabric-store.com.
Yep.
Fabric-store.com. That's where, look, even before Joann's went under, they were not going to have the linen I need. And for those of you who do historical costuming of almost any era before the 19th century, linen is king. Linen is so wonderful. But like, if you are local to the desert, have I not preached to you the good word of linen yet? Like, linen is such a great fabric to live in. So I love fabric-store.com, and they also do swatches, but the best thing about their swatches, this is my favorite thing, there's a coupon code on the back of their swatch card,
Oh.
and it's usually for 10% off. Ooh, sweet. I'll take that. So I order swatches, decide what I'm gonna buy, and then I take that 10% code. And it at least pays for my shipping. Yeah. It's great.
Where would I find trims?
Oh, trims. Girl. Trims. Sarah, you just had to find some trim for your cake project.
Well, I admit I got that off of Amazon because I needed it fast.
So sometimes you can go to the Zon.
But yes, I got stuff off of Amazon. I will usually go to Etsy for trims, but I needed stuff in a couple days because I am leaving town tomorrow and needed to be able to sew the trim on the cake before I left town.
Yeah, I mean, and like, so eBay, Etsy are actually some good resources for like things like trim and buttons, because people will either be selling off stuff from their stash, or they will find new old stock or dead stock that's being sold off from small crafting businesses that are going out of business, and then they'll put them up on Etsy and eBay. So you can find some really great things that way.
Wasn't one of the places that you sent me that I have fallen in love with a tinsel trading company?
Yes, it was. I'm so sorry. I
No, you're
am
not.
a bad person. Tinsel Trading is one of my favorite little treasures. It's out of the Bay Area. They're in Berkeley, California. They used to be in New York. It's a family-owned business. They've been in the garment making industry since the 19th century. And they had a shop in the Fabric District in New York City, where they've been selling notions since the 19th century. Oh, they still had stock from their early days that had just been in their warehouse. So they're like, yeah, no,
Slowly
this
selling
is
it off.
new old stock from 1890s. Would you like some buttons from Paris in 1912? We have them. Yeah, no, so good.
And even if you don't buy anything, they're beautiful to look at.
It is beautiful. So they have an Etsy front. They also sometimes do sales on their social media on Instagram. And those are sort of like wonderful things they've curated into little packs.
They're like pop-up sales kind of
Yeah.
thing. I've gotten some cool embroidery supplies
Yeah.
that way.
I can't remember if they have a proper website with normal.
I believe they do, because I think I've looked at it. I
Yeah.
don't think all of their stuff is on there, but I have looked at it.
And if you're ever able to be in the Bay Area, you should just make a pilgrimage, because it's really a beautiful shop. Their stock is not standard. You're not going to find the same things at all times. But if you're looking for some really niche things, some beautiful trims, some exquisite buttons, and you're really trying to treat, I don't know, yourself or a friend who's getting married and sews and needs people to send her like really nice notions, for instance, or like holiday gifts. If you don't know, you could always treat someone to like some 100-year-old buttons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, if you ever need embroidery supplies, I've gotten a lot of stuff off of Etsy. You can find some amazing specialty embroidery supplies. I've found a lot of stuff that comes from India, especially things for like gold work and things like that. Some really specialty threads, silk thread, things like that off of Etsy. If you're looking for rhinestones, Wholesale Rhinestone has gobs of rhinestones that are absolutely gorgeous, that are not as expensive as Swarovski, especially because you can't actually get Swarovski anymore unless you are a bulk retailer, because they don't make them anymore.
Well, they don't make them for.
Well, they don't make them
regular
for regular everyday crafters.
Yeah.
And then Fire Mountain Gems is a place where you can get bulk rhinestones, bulk beads, and they have preciosa rhinestones, which are fairly comparable to Swarovski.
Fire Mountain is also good for jewelry making supplies in
Yes.
general. So if you need to like do beadwork or make jewelry for your costume and cosplay, they're another place that's been around actually for decades. So I think one of the fun stories that we weren't maybe thinking of in this panel is the number of resources and places that were already there before Joann's went out of business.
Yeah.
So Joann's created this sort of perception that they were the only game in town, but they weren't.
They are not,
haven't
no.
been. Like all of these beautiful little local quilt shops were keeping the sewing, the like local sewing economy and community afloat in a way Joann's never was.
And before Joann's, there was Hancock Fabrics,
Oh.
which unfortunately also collapsed.
Yeah.
I was
Oh,
delighted-
Hancock.
I was delighted for about
They
a
had
year at
these
Hancock's.
beautiful-
I bought more fabric the first 3 weeks I was there than I had in the previous 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, Hancock's was an incredible place, and it was really like, we didn't know it, but it was a sign of where things were going a bit, I think. And sort of like the danger of these big box
Right.
conglomerates coming in and turning the crafting and sewing world into a place where you could only buy at these big places. Like, I try to acknowledge that there was utility with Joann's. It was popular for a reason.
Yes.
But it also drove out of business a lot of the small local places where you could have a relationship with a sewist who knew what they were doing, which is very helpful. Yes, you are so smart and you keep like adding great things to the
My
conversation.
daughter just moved to a place in Ohio that, near Cleveland, but it's smack in the middle of Amish country,
Yeah,
Oh.
where a lot of the population doesn't get into the car and drive to Cleveland to
Yeah.
Joann's. And the fabric stores and all the little shops never left.
Oh, I'm jealous. That sounds amazing.
In that same part of the country, if you happen to be at an event in like St. Louis or Nashville, about halfway between is a little town called Paducah.
Paducah.
It has, among other things, the National Quilt Museum.
Oh
It
my
also
gosh.
has a family-owned store that predates the well-known national chain, it's Hancock's of Paducah. It is, and you talked about acres and acres of rainbows of Kona cottons. They've got it.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know what their online sales policy is. As I said, live in eastern Mississippi. I sometimes go to the conventions up in the Chicago area. Paducah, Kentucky makes a really handy overnight stop for me. I get there, if I start out at really young out in the morning, I can get to Paducah before Hancock's closes. in the
They have
afternoon.
They have an online site that looks like it's got all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
Alright.
I am sending it
I've
to
never
you.
tried online ordering from them. The times that I've been there, I've always just walked in.
That's fair.
So this is Hancock's of Paducah,
Yeah. They
and
predate the chain. They've never been
Never been
related to the chain.
associated. that's amazing. Thank you so
They're
much.
still there.
That's lovely.
And
We-
Paducah has lots of other quilt shops, probably because they do have the National Quilt Museum. If you want to go, bring a drool towel, and go to the National Quilt Museum.
Oh, I
And
can
pace
only
yourself.
imagine.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
Beautiful things that are in there. I have been sending you links to every fabric store that people have been mentioning.
Okay, great.
Because
Wonderful, thank
Wholesale
you.
Fabric Direct and those, and Tinsel, the one are not on your,
I probably didn't put tinsel trading on there because they're more,
Specialty.
yeah, they're a little bougie, but I mean, also like, I love being able to get notions from 1890s. So, yeah, need some updates, but we update as we go. And I think I got off track from this earlier, but this spreadsheet is organic and a group project. So I really do, if you send me stuff, I'll add it. Other people have access to update it as well, and we keep it free and available. So how are we doing?
It's 12:46.
So we have a few minutes left, and we definitely didn't cover like knitting or crocheting or weaving. There are resources for those things out there very similarly, of course, but
Knit Picks is a great one.
we like Urban Threads and Ravelry,
Oh,
places
yes.
like that for patterns.
Ravelry is great for patterns. You can also like trade yarn and things like that through them and like kind of keep track of what your stash is, what projects you are working on. Urban Threads is one of my favorite places to get embroidery designs. They are for machine embroidery. They used to have hand embroidery patterns as well. They don't anymore, unfortunately. But they've got all sorts of cool contemporary machine embroidery designs, everything from like super colorful and really detailed to single color, light stitching, stuff. They've got patterns for freestanding embroidery that you can make like Christmas ornaments or appliques out of. I don't have the corset with me that I made appliques from some of their stuff.
That is okay.
But they've got all sorts of stuff. Embroidery Library Online is another good one for that. And Knit Picks has all sorts of gorgeous yarns. They've also got a good selection of knitting needles, crochet hooks, things like that, of various types. So
Yes, tell me.
Do you have a millinery resource?
I do have a millinery resource. As what a lovely question. So millinery is hat making, for those who are like, what the heck is millinery? And I do make hats. I do what's called flat pattern hat making, which means I take something two-dimensional and I turn it into three-dimensional. It's a sort of somewhat traditional hat making, and the supplies are very specialty. I like Judith M. Millinery. They are out of your part of the world. I think they're in Kentucky, so like a neighbor. And they're very helpful. They're a small business, so if you call them up and you're like, I'd like to make a pirate hat, they'll be like, we know what you need. So we don't know how much knowledge you need, but we know the supplies you need. So they've got buckram and wire and needles and all the things you need to make hats, which is really lovely. There aren't that many hatting supplies or millinery suppliers anymore in the country. I also like hats by Laco, but I tend to go to Judith M more often because I have a more personal relationship with them. We both use Richard the Thread for our corsetry supplies. That's a very niche as well, but sometimes those materials can be useful for other things. Like if you need a really hardy interfacing, coutil is lightweight and extremely strong, for instance. So.
Silk organza also works really well as like an interlining, and you can use it as an interfacing, and I've gotten that by the yard from Dharma Trading Company, and they have really great just like undyed silk organza that you can just cut up and use as interfacing.
Absolutely lovely. So there is scads more to cover, of course, if you are looking for resources. It's endless, but one thing I think that is the most important thing you could do is make friends with your fellow sewers, cosplayers, crafters, because we all have a stash. We all have a hoard. And one of the things we've started doing in our community is trading, right? Like, I don't need stuff from 15 years ago. I don't need it. And maybe I've been holding on to it because it's really good and it's really cute and I didn't know what to make with it. But then I can be like, Sarah, this would be really good for you. You want to do that thing and look at this gorgeous fabric I have, how perfect. Or Temperance, oh, you want a lace sleeve? Here's some lace yardage I have kicking around. So,
or you made a cool lining for that waistcoat. Hey, I have this thing that would go perfectly with that fabric that you're using as the outer fabric.
Right? So doing that kind of trades, making connection with your fellows is really great. But I think some of us have started doing like really purging our workshops and our stashes to help put fabric out in the world. So there's a company called Swanson's. It's out of the Northeast. They take like fabric from stashes, and especially from people where like, this is a little bit maudlin, but they call up and they're like, yeah, my mother, auntie, family member passed, and now I have their entire workshop, and I don't sew. In fact, I'm terrified of sewing machines. And so, or I don't knit, I make hats. And they're like, what do I do with all of this? Swanson's takes it, and they resell it at a very reasonable price. So it's like, and they have a searchable online database of what they have. I don't know how often they update it. But they're a really great resource as well, and more of those places are starting to pop up. Because we do hoard things, right? Sometimes you just buy fabric
And we do
because,
eventually die.
and
We
then you
don't always
die.
arrange with our local sewist guild to arrange for an estate sale of the fabric.
Yeah, that's lovely. Well, I do think taking a page out of the book of quilters is a really good idea for any of us in the garment making and cosplay community, because quilters have been really good at maintaining a community and at supporting the members of their community with these things happening, and making sure that that stuff goes back out into the world and doesn't look, it's really nice if you show up to the local thrift store and you're like, my God, that's a Bernina for $10. No one knows, right? They don't know what they have. And if you're not familiar, Berninas are very,
Networking also, so.
Right,
if,
yeah.
If the one you talk to doesn't happen to know exactly where to find what you're looking for, they'll say, I bet so-and-so could help you.
yes. Community is everything. It's the best solution to many of these problems. And so at the end of the day, I think one of the things we're doing is saying, hey, we're here. Our friend Temperance is there.
Come talk to us.
Right, thanks for being a plant. We like answering your questions. We have a community. If you don't want to hang out with us and be part of our community, start your own, make your own. Yes, is there a question before we wrap up?
As somebody who wants to get into garment making, do they want to be friends?
Yeah, man, are you local?
Sort of. I'm more like the Phoenix area.
Okay. Well, you should know we have a Discord, and that we love to answer questions. And also, I do a sewing stream every Tuesday night on Twitch, where I do an Ask Me Anything about sewing, and you can bring all of your garment making questions to me.
And you also frequently do a Saturday afternoon as well.
On the Discord,
Yeah.
absolutely. And then I teach workshops throughout the year as well, virtually. But I'm just one cosplayer and costumer. There certainly is a great costume community out there on YouTube where you can get resources. But we're local and we do virtual stuff. And so, and I know of some other local costumers here in the
Phoenix person who cosplays, I travel to see my Tucson friends and take their advice. Because the Tucson cosplay community is much more loving than the greater Phoenix area.
Oh, thanks.
And that's why I live in Arizona, not the city.
Thanks.
And there are so many resources out there, and one of the nice things, I think this sewing community itself is shifting to be a lot more open and welcoming and willing to teach and answer questions. There, I think, is far less gatekeeping than there used to be. And so, because we want to keep this craft alive, we want to keep it going, and the only way to do that is to teach new people and to answer their questions and welcome them into this and say, hey, you want to learn? Cool. What do you want to learn? And so ask questions. Go onto online forums, message us, join her Discord. There are so many crafters in her Discord that if you post a question in there, you're gonna have a bunch of people going, hey, try this.
That's true.
Or here's some resources that might be helpful for you. So, yeah.
Last,
When I was moonlighting in Hancock's, I lost track of the number of 20-something young moms with a kid, infant in a stroller, coming in, wanting to learn how to sew so they could make clothes for their baby. And they all said, I wish I'd paid attention when my grandma tried to teach me to sew when I was 10 years old.
sometimes you have to go out and adopt a grandmother who sews, or an auntie who sews. And I could probably go on a really long rant about how people over a certain age are really isolated and young people could really use connections, so we should probably just join everybody up together. But that's another panel. So the long and the short of it is make friends, join a community. We've got one. You're welcome to join, but also you have one in the offing right here in this room. So make friends with the people you see right now. Do you have a last closing statement before we wrap up? Because we're wrapping up.
Have fun with this. I mean, that's the biggest thing. There are plenty of resources out there, whether you're looking for fabric, supplies, knowledge. But the most important thing is have fun. So, I mean, that's a big part of why we do all of this, is because it's meant to be fun.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you all so much for being here. I hope we answered a lot of questions. If you have any burning last questions, you can always come up to the table and ask as we're wrapping up and heading out. But you can also find me all over the internet. And I have cards with a QR code in back that will take you to my link tree where you can get some of this information it's talking about. I'm all over the internet as Madame Askew. And so I'm really easy to find. I have a website, a Patreon. I'm on Blue Sky, Twitch, Instagram, Facebook, still for my sins, and YouTube. So come check it out. Thank you so much. Please do. Oh, thanks, thank you. Yes, I agree with you. Also, somebody just handing me nothing. Yes, oh, yes, I probably have some. Good, good. I do. Are you a fan of Gail's? Are you a sci-fi reader? Oh, yes. And a filter. And a filter.
That's amazing. They go on Saturday.
Oh my God.
I sell raffle tickets, and then they go many times. Unfinished is always sold, and finish it up into that.
That's amazing.
This most recent winner.
That's gorgeous. That's so amazing. Wow.
Yeah,
I love that. That's awesome.
in March. That's this year.
Well, and last I see you in person, I put you on a lot of panels. I hope you
Yeah,
found
I
these
know.
days. You're welcome. Joe and I
My
have a
thing
great
at
time.
one was canceled too, so I hope the sound guy tear everything down.
Do I know? No, I don't.
So I spent the last hour